good, YouTube? I wanted to touch base on a question that's been moving around in the photo YouTube community. Is film more meaningful than digital? A couple users have touched base on it, such as Lawrence, Verlandis, and even one of my boys named Jordan. And I just wanted to have some insight into this question as well too. So, as I said before, I disagree. I don't think film is more meaningful than digital. The process is quite different, of course. With film, the process is usually, let's say for me, after you take the film, I personally like processing my film myself. And after you process it, you scan it, and essentially if you're digitalizing the film so it can be shown in digital. With digital, it's a little bit different. With digital, you take it from the camera, it's on your memory card, you put it in your computer, and it's kind of funny, regardless of if I'm using film or digital, I always like having a couple of hours where, I don't look at them. And for me, the purpose is usually, let's say if I'm just coming from a shoot, or let's say I'm just coming for an event, whatever the case may be, I would like giving my eyes, time to be refreshed. So when I check back on the photos, I feel a lot more ready to see okay, what could I do with this? What could I do with that? So. So the process is quite different. However, Lawrence made a really important point, which is regardless of what you take, either it's film or digital. With film, let's say if you're using 35mm film. So with 35mm film, you get about 36 frames. With digital, as we all know, it could be quite unlimited until you have to switch out your SD cards or compact flash cards, wherever you're using. Contact flash. Anyways, but he made a really great point, whereas you could take 36 frames and you could take over, I guess, a million, let's say 200 frames on your digital, but at the end of the day, if you're not hitting your subject, if you're not hitting your target, then what's the point? You're wasting time regardless of what medium you're using. And I have seen, with a lot of beginners, and I went through the same thing as well too, when I was shooting, and I remember when I started with film and I went to digital, and I noticed that when the first time I was using digital, depends on what shoot I was going for, I was taking a lot of shots, and I used to remember that it would take me hours just to edit because I have so many photos that I'm looking through, and the worst thing about it was a lot of these photos was literally the same type of settings or the same type of environment, and combing through all that, it's just, I feel that as a photographer, you're wasting more of your time going through an archive of photos where you could have just took your time and take your time with the subject and then shoot more slowly. And I think that's one thing film gives to me personally, where it just slow me down in a bit and make sure I work with the subject and take photos when needed, not because you want to. With that being said, one thing which, regardless of film and digital, I feel that one topic that we all could agree on is that we need to stop printing more. I don't see much people print their work, and you get this big advanced cameras, stuff like that, and regardless of film and digital, but I feel with printing, that's the final step you have to get to. That's I feel that with more photographers should be achieving as well too, because printing is just a whole process itself. Me personally, I have knowledge to do darkroom and digital, but regardless of which one I'm doing, it's always a learning curve when you first start off, because uh, the monitor had to be set in a certain way. Your paper type matters the most, because when you print it, your colors might shift a certain way for this paper than it is for the other paper. And I guess overall, I think was one reason with film, which I guess why a lot of people cater to, is it's tangible. It's something that you could grab. It's physical. You can move around, stuff like that. And with photography, it should, like, your end product should be a tangible product. It doesn't have to be for every photo, of course, but it just always just feels better. Let's say for clients and stuff like that. If you have like an interview with a client or whatever the case may be, yes, you could show through the photos through a tablet, but I also feel that just bring like a print portfolio as well too, something that people could feel with their hands and move, page to page. I feel like that's also like a great look, just to like have someone just like, all right, this is great. This is like something I could feel. It just because if you notice, even with our phones nowadays, a lot of people love using it because they're touching it. And I feel that with photography, we shouldn't lose that. We should keep that going. And I feel that, as Lawrence and others just, mentioned, printing really does matter. Regardless of printing, I also feel that, one thing that's getting carried away with it is, I feel like it's like two groups of like, photographers where, it's shouldn't be, if that makes sense. You have people who are gear whores, and you have people who are film fanatics. And it's nothing wrong. If you love, collecting, by all means, collect as much as possible. But I also feel don't force, people who's beginning or just, people in general to believe on your ideals on photography. It's not right, and it kind of stir people, stir the person in the wrong way. Because I remember when I first started off, a lot of people like, say, and especially you notice that a lot when you go to, certain stores, they force you to get the newest camera because it does this, that, and third. And for me in particular, as a career, it's not about, having the most advanced, fast camera out there. It's about having the most reliable camera I can take with me in jobs and what can last the longest for me. And I think as a photographer, if you're doing this ad professionally, we all agree the most reliable camera is the best thing you could have. And at the end of the day, I look at the cameras I own is just all just tools. It's just certain tools to make things work. So let's say for my own photography style, I do enjoy taking a lot of film, and just me. But I do understand if I don't have like a certain ISO film or ASA, of course in the back in days, but ISO is now the most common name for it. So if I don't have the most reliable film and I'm going to have to do this, photo shoot, then I do know that, hey, I either get the film that I need to get this job done, or I also have my Nikon D700. I just use that instead. And I think if it's something really you need to worry about, you really need to worry about two things, personally, which is lighting and lens. Those are the two things that if you really need to invest your money on, those are the way to go. And quite ironically, if you heard of Stephen Klein, he I don't know how recent, but I believe one of his photo shoots, all he used was an iPhone to shoot the whole photo shoot. Crazy, right? Because there's so many people who's arguing about different cameras, where the bigger picture is that, hey, there's people who shooting these campaigns with iPhone, But one thing that doesn't change, of course, is your lighting. Doesn't matter what camera you use, if you don't have the lighting to get the job done, doesn't matter. You gotta have the most advanced camera in the world, and maybe it will get up to the point where I could take a camera and shoot in pitch darkness and still handheld and then still see like a image or still make something meaningful out of it. But until then, it's like lighting is key. Lens is also key as well too. You could get a cheap body and put like a amazing lens on it, and people won't be able to tell the difference that you got a cheap body or not. And I think that's very important. But just to come right back into it, I think at the end of the day, one thing I truly want to like try and push on to more people is just print your own work. It's just the feeling of just having your own work printed up and possibly put it on walls is a great feeling. And I can always just talk high about this because it's just always a good feeling to just see your work up there. Other than that, just to rewind what I was saying before, no, I don't think film is more meaningful than digital. I feel like the film or digital, they all have like a purpose. And as I said before, it's all a tool. Depends on what tool you use for the job. As long as you get the job done, that's all that matters. What do you think? Do you think film is more digital? I did a recent project on a documentary, and I shot in both film and digital. I'm gonna put a slideshow so you guys can see it and tell me what you think. Do you feel like one shot was digital? Do you start one shot is film? Other than that, thank you for watching my video. If you have any comments, feel free to comment away and let's join that discussion. Peace.